There's also special rules for solo play, which I'll leave for you to discover on your own.
Or you could discover it right now with me, here at the Table for One. Finally, we've found it. A new world just waiting to be explored, and oh boy, explore it we will. Maybe we'll even become the greatest explorer of all time. That's what we're hoping for, at least, in the game Explorers, designed by Phil Walker Harding and published by Ravensburger, who helped sponsor this episode. Now, if you want the full rules explanation for Explorers, you can of course check out Rodney's How to Play video, which is linked in the description below. But I'm going to be taking us through the solo mode today, and I'll be explaining the little differences between the multiplayer version and the solo mode while we play. Luna's also here. If you have your own copy of Explorers, I'd love it if you would play along with me and then let me know in the comments below what your score ends up being. And with all that being said, I guess we'll dive in and start exploring. Wish me luck. So here we are, all set up for the game. I've chosen this side of the player board, which is your basic starting side. I've also got the basic scoring tiles up here for provisions, villages, and gyms. And then I've randomly selected and placed these 4 map tiles in my player board. Now, if you're playing along with me, you're going to need map tile 3, 2, 7, and 8. And you'll want to set up your map so that it looks exactly like this. So maybe pause the video right now, set that up, and then come back when you're ready. Do you want to play Explorers, Luna? Yeah? Are you gonna hang out? Are you gonna be a distraction? Yeah. So today I've decided we are not playing on expert mode, but we are going to use some of the achievements to spice up the game a little bit. Now, when you're playing this in the multiplayer version, you'd all have different achievements. But for the solo mode, these are the achievements we're going to use if you're playing along. So the first one is we will score a point at the end of the game for every X in the longest single diagonal line. We will earn points for the number of apples we collect during the game. And then we will also earn 10 points if we can mark off a space in every water section of the game. Oh, this is nice because this actually connects. We need an X somewhere in here, one here, 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 and here. If we can get an X in all these water sections, we'll earn 10 points. So the last thing we need to do to be totally set up and ready to play is to mark our starting village. Now this is the village that is the closest to the center of the map. And that looks to me like it's going to be village number 8 here, which is 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces away from the center, which is certainly fewer spaces than 7, 3, and 2. So 8 is our starting village. And if you're playing along, you also should mark 8. Now this is the only time we'll be marking a village on the map. Otherwise, you have to mark around the village, but you can't go through it. We will now pick one terrain type to mark with 3 X's to get us going. Now, if you're playing along, we can all pick a different terrain. What terrain do I want? I might want to go on and start working on my water achievement here. So maybe I'll mark this X, and this one. So those are my 3 spaces I'm going to start the game with. Okay, with that done, I think we're ready to flip over our first exploration card and see what kind of terrain we have to go with for this first turn. So we need to mix these up. Remove one randomly. We'll set that aside there. That's the one we won't have this round. And now we have 7 left, and we'll flip one over each turn. And once we get to the bottom of this pile of 7, that's the end of the round. All right, let's see. In a solo game, I flip this. Once it's flipped, I cannot change its orientation, and the terrain facing me, so this one, is the terrain that is the active terrain this turn. So that means we can mark 3 X's of the terrain facing us, prairie, or if we want, we can do 2 X's of the terrain facing away from us, which in this case is mountains. I want apples for scoring, I want X's in rivers, and I want to make a diagonal line at some point. I also really want to go after gems. I think I'm actually going to do 2 of the mountain on this turn. I'm going to do 1 here, which gets me a gem, which I will mark off there. Then I'm going to do 1 here. I basically just want to work my way over to this apple, I think. Okay, so we'll take the ones we've already used. I'm just going to stack them over here in a discard pile. Next explorer tile. So this is a wild. This means we can split our 3 X's between water or desert, or we can split 2 X's between mountain and prairie. I think it's probably going to make sense to do water and desert. So I think what we'll do here is I'm going to do 2 water, 1, 2. I want to get that gem. And then do I want to put 1 in a desert somewhere? I could put 1 here. If I do that, that starts to contribute to a diagonal line here, which is kind of nice. So I will do that. Okay, that's our 3 X's. Put that in our discard pile. Flip over the next explorer card. 3 mountain or 2 desert. I'm going to do 3 mountain. I'm going to start to work my way up into this map tile. So 1, 2, 3, which gets me another gem. Great. Discard that one. Flip over the next one. I'd really like to start working my way down towards some keys because the sooner I can unlock some temples, the more points I'm going to get for them. 3 prairie or 2 desert. Ooh, prairie will get me an apple, which I like. I do like that. And then I could start to work my way over this way toward this temple. So I'm going to do the 3 prairie. I'm going to do 1 apple, which we'll mark off right here. I'll do another one here. And then for my 3rd prairie, I'll connect over here. I might not be unlocking any temples this round. It's hard to say. Ooh, another wild. Okay, so 3 split between ocean and mountain, or 2 split between prairie and desert. Ocean and mountain seems like a pretty good idea because I can actually connect down into here where this key is. I like that. So I'm going to do 1 ocean and 2 mountain. Oh, this is great because now I'm 1 away from this key and 1 away from that key, which I think that's very good. So I got another gem. We're starting off with 4 gems. I like that because these are going to score every round. So the more we can get earlier on, the more points overall we're going to get for gems in the game. If you've seen my cartographer's video, this is a lot like my coin strategy, which you know I like. All right, second to last one. 3 prairie or 2 ocean. Prairie, yes. I think prairie. So I'm going to mark off this key for 1, and I'm going to circle this. We now have this key available to us so that we can mark off a temple space if we can get to it. Then I think I'm also going to go 1, 2 to get us closer to that temple space. What would be great is to get 1 more food item so that we can score more than 2 points for provisions this round. I mean, we did get an apple, so we've at least guaranteed us 3 points at the end of the game. Last one for the round. Water. Ooh, we could get a fish. I think we should do 2 of these, 1, 2, to get that fish. Then where should we put the 3rd one? We could start to work our way up here, which I think might be a good idea. And that gets us an X in this body of water, which is 1 closer to having an X in all of them. So I'm going to do my 3rd X here. Make some progress. Okay, that is the end of the first round of the game, which means we need to score up for the first round. So the first thing we're going to do is score up for our provisions. We've marked off 2 of the 3, which means we get 5 points here. This we won't score till the end of the game. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 gems, which I will mark right here. And now, before we start the next round, we actually have to mark off, because we're in the solo mode, the highest value available for each of the temples. So now, because we didn't find any of them in the first round, the most any of them is worth to us is 10 points. At the beginning of each round for the rest of the game, we'll mark off the highest value in the temples. And that's to motivate you to get to those temples. So now we take the tile that we didn't have in our stack before, we add it back in, and we reshuffle these to make a new exploration deck for round 2. Okay, we'll pull this one out is the one we will not be using. That's so that this is randomized a little bit every round. And let's start round 2. Let's see what we get here. Mountains. How do we get to more temples? There's a temple there and a temple there. I think we should get the gem. And I think we should get the key. So we have 2 keys. We need to really push towards some temples this round, I think. I'm going to start to make my way over to this carrot in this temple, I think. Oh, I could get one away from this apple. I'm going to get one away from the apple. That's where my third X is going to go. Luna, you have something you want to say? Bye. Discard that up here. Flip over the next one. So 3 desert or 2 mountain. Oh, we could get to this temple. I like that. So I'm going to go 1, 2. We can unlock that temple with this key. So now I'm going to circle. We have earned 10 points for temple number C. Letter C. So we have one more X we can put. So I kind of think maybe we put it over here somewhere. We could start surrounding this village with X's because that'll earn us points at the end. I think that's what we'll do. So we'll put 1 X here. All right. Next turn. Desert again. 3 desert, or we can do 2 prairie if we'd like. I'm going to do 3 here. 1, 2, 3. That gives me a scroll. Now, at any time, I can mark off an unused circled scroll. And instead of using the terrain that I flipped over, I can do 4 X's in any terrain I want. So that might come in handy at some point. So that's why I've put my 3 X's there. Next, 3 mountain or 2 ocean. Luna's back. I think we start to make our way over here. So 3 mountain, 1, 2, that gets me a gem. 3 gets me closer to this carrot and this temple. I would really like a wild exploration card, actually, I think. I would like to start mixing it up. I don't feel like I'm collecting enough provisions at all so far in this game. Okay, let's see what this is. Oh, ask and ye shall receive. Okay, so we can do 3 split between desert or prairie or 2 ocean mountain. I think desert and prairie are gonna be the way to go. Because here's what I can do. I can do 1 desert, 1 prairie. That gets me an apple for this round. So now I'm gonna have 6 points for that because I've marked off 2 in the game. I have 1 more. It can go on a prairie or a desert. I could put it here. I could put it here and get, no, I can't do the other apple because I've already got one for this round. Okay, so we won't be doing that. Oh, I could put it here and be close to that carrot. Let's do that. That's that. Flip over the next one. We have 2 left. These rounds go so fast. That's another wild. So now our split is between mountains and prairie, or for 2 X's, we could do desert and ocean. I could do 3, 2 mountains and a prairie here, get another gem. I think I'll do that. Okay. 1, 2, 3. That gets me another gem. I'm pretty much going all in on my gem points right now. I need to start marking off more water spaces. Oh no. Okay. Last one for the round. It's desert. Or we could do 2 ocean. Or we could do 4 of anything if we want. Let's think for a minute. Let's think about what we should do. Luna? What is she doing back there? All right, let's get this carrot. If I do 1 here, that's another. That will be 3 X's by our starting village, which is going to be worth 7 points at the end. I think I'll do 1 here, and then my 3rd X here. So now we have 1 by number 7 village. So that's 3 points guaranteed there. All right, that's the end. Let's count up our round 2 points. We again had 2 provisions of the 3, so we get 5 points for that. We now have 7 gems, so we'll mark that there. And we now mark off the next highest value left on all of our undiscovered temples. Values are getting pretty low there. Let's reset our exploration deck, add this tile back in, and do some shuffling. Let's pull this one in the middle out. That's the one we won't be using. Round 3, halfway through the game. Okay, so we get to start off with 3 ocean or 2 mountain. We should mark some ocean because we really need to get X's in more of these areas of water. I'm just going to try and get myself closer to some things I could manage to use. So I think I will mark 1X here, which gets me 1 away from the gem. 1X here, which gets me 1 away from the temple. And 1X here, which gets me 1 away from this key. So now, with other terrain when it comes up, I am closer to achieving some things. Hopefully that's an okay strategy. Okay. Oh, a wild tile. That's good. So ocean and desert for 3 or mountain and prairie for 2. Okay. I'm going to do 1 of the ocean here to get this gem that I set up for myself last turn. Then I'm going to do 1 desert and 1 ocean. Now I'm 1 away from this fish, which is great. And also I have an X in this body of water, which is good for this. So now what do I have left? I have an X here, an X here, 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 and this one's all connected. So that should count for this whole thing here. So this is the last body of water I need to get an X in order to earn 10 points. I think that was pretty decent. I need to remember I can use this scroll to give myself just 4 of something, which honestly could be really great. I could chain that with a horse because a horse gets me an extra X anywhere as long as it's next to an X I've already placed. Okay, let's see what this is. Oh, it's another wild. Okay. Oh my gosh. That cat cannot come in here because he will be a disaster. Shepherd, go away. Oh, this is great. Okay, so I'm going to spend 1 of these to unlock this temple using this key. So we now get 8 points for temple B, which is good. Then I have 2 more X's to place. I think 1 should be this apple. I have 1 more, and I think it's going to be this horse. I'm going to finally use a horse, which gets me an additional X I can place anywhere adjacent to an X I've already placed. So I have a couple of options here. I could get this fish. I could set myself up to get this carrot. I could get closer to this gem, which gets me closer to this key. I could go here, which would give me another point of an X around a village. I've got a lot of options that could be good. I'm going to set myself up for this carrot, I think. So I'm going to mark off a mountain space there. Next tile, prairie. Well, I'll do 1 here. So now we have that X by that village. I think I'll do 1 here to get closer to this gem. And then I'm going to do 1 here to start to get closer to that temple. So I was real spread out that time. All right, next one, ocean. I'm so close to being able to get to this, and I just can't quite do it yet. I could put 1 here and get the fish. Okay, let's do 1 here. So I'm almost surrounded this village, which is going to be really good for points at the end of the game. So that's 1 of my 3. Here's a fish. So that's 2 of my 3. I can't quite get into here yet. So I'm just going to come up here to start to try and make my way up into this tile from a way that's not just those X's. Let's see. Oh, we only have 2 more left this round. Prairie, or we could do 2 desert. It might be worth doing the 2 desert, honestly, because we need to start connecting to some of these other things. And that'll get me a carrot, which is worth 5 points. Because if I get 3 of these this round, then I have 10 points instead of just 5. I think I'm going to do 2, or I could use my scroll and do 4 prairie. I'm going to do that. I'm going to choose prairie, but because I'm using my scroll, I could technically name any landscape, but I'm going to stick with prairie, and I'm going to do 4 of them. So I'm going to do 1 carrot, 1 gem, 1 X here, so now I can start to get into this water area, and then I'm going to do 1 more X here. That allows me to now be closer to being able to put X's around this village. Hopefully that was worth it. Okay, it's the last explore tile of the 3rd round, and it's prairie, or 2 mountain. All right, let's get the key for 1. Now I have 2 more. I'm gonna do them here. So now I'm close to this fish, but I'm also close to a horse, which might come in handy in the last round. Time to score for round 3. So we found all 3 provisions this round, which is great. That's gonna be worth 10 points. We have 7, 8, 9 gems. And we now mark off the highest value left for our undiscovered temples, which is just A and D. And we're ready to go to round 4, the last round of the game. Luna, are you ready for the last round of the game? Pulling that one out. Woo! So this round, if we want 10 points, we absolutely need to get an X into this water and this water. Desert. I could get this carrot with 2 of those. Okay, yeah, I'll do 2 X's, 1, 2. That gets me a carrot here in the last round. And then I'm gonna use my 3rd X right here, and that gets me 1 X adjacent to village number 3. So that's good, that'll score me 3 points. We don't have anything by village 2 yet, but maybe we can make something happen this round. More desert, or we could do mountain. I could just get up to village 2, or I could do 2 mountain and get, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna get the gem. I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but I'm gonna do 2 mountain. I'm gonna get this gem. Oh, now we have mountains. Or 2 water. I think we should do the 2 water because it's going to let us unlock this temple here. So I'm going to do 2 water. 1, 2. That also gets us an X in this body of water. We just need to get into this one now. We will mark off this key, and now we have discovered temple D. That's 6 points. Alrighty, what's next? More mountains. Okay. Let's do 1, 2, that gets us a horse, which I'm going to put here. And then for my 3rd X, I'm going to put it here. So we now have 2 X's adjacent to village number 3. All right, that was my 3. 3 desert or 2 ocean. Should we do the 2 ocean? I just don't know. Will ocean come up again? We only have 2 left. I don't normally do so many of the 2 terrain. I normally almost always use the 3 terrain, but I really want to get into this ocean. So I'm going to do 1, 2 in the ocean. So now we have an X in every body of water. We're going to get 10 points. And we're 1 away from this key, which we weren't before. So 2 more in the whole game. Oh, it's a wild. Okay, so we can do mountain or prairie. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do 2 mountain spaces, 1, 2. That gets me a scroll. Then I'm going to do 1 prairie right here. Now, I think unless something really, really great flips over for this last tile, I'm going to use that scroll in my last turn to do 4 prairie and get that last apple. But let's see what flips over. Unless there's something amazing with mountain and ocean. I was like, ooh, we could get to this last temple, but we don't have a key to open it up. So we actually can't. I think my original plan is good. I am going to use my scroll. I'm going to declare that I'm using it for prairie. So let me mark this off. And then I get to mark 4 X's. And I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. This is good because it gets me another provision for scoring. I now have 4 apples, which is going to get me 15 points at the end of the game. And I was able to mark another X by village number 3, which means it's going to be worth 7 points now. I feel like that was a decent way to go with it. That's also the end of round 4. Let's see, what was our removed terrain tile? Oh, it would have been prairie. But we would have flipped it like this. So it could have been ocean. We got X's in all the bodies of water, right? Yes. Luckily, this does count because it's connected. Because you can see here in the example that this is connected across tiles and 1 X fulfills it. Let's count up our score for round 4. We have 2 provisions, which is 5 points. We have, I think, 10 gems. And that's that. So now we're going to score for everything on our board for in-game scoring, and then we'll score for our achievements. Okay, so let's total all of this up. 5, 10, 20, 25 for our provisions. Now let's look at our villages. First, we look at village A right here. So that has 1, 2, 3 X's in the spaces adjacent to it. So that means it's worth 7 points. In our village B, we have nothing adjacent to it. So that's a big fat 0. C, we have 1, 2, 3. So that's 7 more points. And D, which is right here, we have 1, 2, 3, which is 7 more points. So that is 21 points for villages. Now we add up our gems. We have 11 and 10 is 21 and 9 is 30. I feel pretty good about that. Okay, we'll add up our temple points. We didn't get anything for A. We got 10 for C, 8 for B, and 6 for D, which is 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 points for temples. Do these make anyone else? This makes me think of like a computer. Almost like a word processor type computer. That's especially here. Look at that. Doesn't that look like a symbol for a computer? Anyway, okay, 24 points. Yeah. And now we're going to calculate for our achievements. So first, let's find our longest diagonal line. We'll get 1 point for every X in that. This is going to take me a second. Okay, I think my longest diagonal line is right here. Let me draw a line through it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 6 points for that. We got 15 points because we ended up getting an apple every round, so that's all 4 apples. And then I think we get 10 points for this because we have an X in every body of water, which we worked very hard to do. So that's 25 and 6 is 31. I think we had a really good game. 131 points, y'all. Now, of course, this is a solo game, so we gotta see how we rank based on our score. 131. Now, here is the Solo Explorer rankings. Now, you're supposed to add 10 points to each of these categories for each achievement used in the game. We used 3 achievements, so we need to buff all of these up by 30 to get our actual ranking. Or what we could do is just subtract 30 points from our score and see where we fall. 101. Ah, here we are right here. Alexander von Humboldt would be proud of you. We basically just made it into this category. That's not bad. We got lots of room to grow, but we did well enough to feel pretty good about ourselves, I think. So Shepherd outside the room feels good about it too. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Table for One. If you played along with me, let me know in the comments below what your score ended up being and what you did differently from me that you think maybe affected your score to make it different from mine. I'd be really curious about that. Don't forget, you can check out Rodney's full how to play video for Explorers linked in the description below. And if you enjoy game playthroughs like this, make sure to check out our Game Played series hosted by Monique and Naveen, where they go head-to-head in 2-player games. If you enjoyed the video, go on and give it a thumbs up. Share it with someone who you think might enjoy it. And also, if you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe. Why not? Hit the notification bell, and that way you'll always know when I have a new episode out for you. And until then, thanks for watching.